If you close your eyes.
Hey Pectus Warriors, what's going on? It's Riley Byrne, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about why bench pressing could potentially be making your case of pectus worse, why you should do it, if you should do it, and how you should do it, and just the benefits of it when done in the right circumstances at the right times. So we're going to be doing bench pressing today, working on technique, because for me it is beneficial. But before getting into that, what I want to talk about is why you maybe shouldn't do it. So the reason why I think it's good for some people and not others is a big problem with pectus is we already have tight chest muscles and then that kyphotic posture, which I talk about. And I actually made a video like 2 years ago talking about this, but if you train your chest muscles, then you're further tightening this. And so if you're not doing stretches for your posture or you're not training your back, then you're actually going to tighten your chest and accentuate the kyphosis of the spine, which is going to make your indentation look more prominent. So we don't want that. So if you're a new beginner and you just go smashing your chest doing bench press, if anything, it may do more harm than good because it's going to make your posture worse. So you'd want to be doing back exercises, face pulls, correcting your posture, and then jumping into bench pressing. So yes, everyone should do bench press, but you want to make sure your posture is addressed first. So that's if you should be doing it. Then, so if you pass that test, if you're working on your posture and you're training your back, then you can train chest. I would recommend 2 times per week, but ensuring you do back twice per week so the posture doesn't get worse. And then prioritizing bench press as a staple compound, because progressive overload on compound movements, that heavy load that you're putting on the muscles, because compound movements are multiple joint movements, which means allows you to lift heavier essentially, and that heavier load is going to have hormonal benefits and more muscular development benefits, as well as enabling you to work more muscles at once. Because when you bench press, we're not only working the chest, we're also working the anterior shoulder, the triceps and stuff. And then form is another really important thing. So now we've gone over why you should bench press and when you shouldn't bench press, and now I want to talk about form. But rather than talking about it, I'm going to film me doing my sets of bench press today, and then I'm going to talk about my form as an overlay. So let's get it.
Okie dokie, it's form analysis time. So that was just me showing that I have chalk on my hands. This is not necessary, especially if you're a beginner. Don't really worry about that. But when you're getting strong and you're going for lower reps, higher weight, like I'm doing here, so this is 90 for an AMRAP, and I think I end up benching 7, then chalk can just help you have a little more grip. So when you're taking it really seriously and you're pretty more advanced, then you can utilize that. But let's not get stuck on chalk. Let's actually talk about my form. So first thing you should notice is the arch in my back. As you can see, a lot of people bench press with a flat back, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's what you're doing right now. So the arch is one of the biggest and most important things. You really need to pull your shoulder blades back. Look, dig your shoulder blades into the back of the bench like I just did then, and create this arch. That's going to push your sternum out. So I think it's really important for pectus. It's a safer position for your shoulders as well, and will also enable you to be stronger. So that's the biggest form cue that I want to emphasize. Next is the bar path. Notice that the bar doesn't go directly straight. It goes slightly towards my head from where it hits my chest. So it comes down just below the nipples and then slightly towards my head. So that's the next biggest cue. And then other than that, keeping your wrists straight. Notice my wrists are really straight. A lot of people bend their wrists way too much when they bench press, and that's going to take away from your strength and potentially hurt your wrists. Other than that, see good leg drive as well. That's also important. This is just me talking to you guys, saying that I am doing a lighter set now, so you can. Those other sets were kind of more powerlifting style, where I was using a lot of leg drive and a lot of an arch. But on your lower weight, higher rep ranges sets, the arch doesn't have to be as extreme, and the rep should be a little more controlled with a little bit slower of an eccentric, because the eccentric phase, the lowering of the weight, is actually where most of the muscular breakdown occurs. So yeah, this is just an example of me doing that for you guys. And I'm actually always going full range of motion, which I think is really important. If you're just skimping, if you're not going down all the way to your chest, then you're not going to get optimal stimulus. So yeah, that's the bench press tips.
All right, so that's the bench press done. So I've already talked about it in the voiceover, but the biggest key really is retracting the scapula, bring the shoulder blades back, pushing the sternum out and the chest out, and pushing up from there, making sure we don't have a flat chest that's concaving in when we bench press. And then also I corrected my form. I did a heavy top set of 95 for 4, and I rushed my eccentric too much, but they were more like powerlifting, like just for number and weights, just for the fun of the sport. But when it comes to muscle hypertrophy, you actually want to slow down the eccentric, so the easy part, the lowering of the weight, because that's where most of the muscular breakdown actually occurs. So you really want to control that, slow it down, and then build it up. Because at the end of the day, the muscle doesn't know how many reps and how much weight you lifted. All it knows is tension that's placed on the muscle. And by slowing it down, you're going to place more tension. So that was actually one fault in my some of my sets then. My last one that I did, there was a lighter set, wasn't really for strength gains, it was more just for muscular gains. Should have given you a good indication of form for working sets in the hypertrophy rep ranges. I say hypertrophy because even strength training is going to probably correlate to some hypertrophy if you combine it with a calorie surplus and protein. But yeah, guys, so that's just a little video about bench press. Obviously, you want to try and get stronger on it. I like to do it for strength training because it's fun. So I like to try and build my max. That's not necessary, but I would recommend it. Get stronger on it, get better at the movement, and do it 2 times a week. You could do like a variation with incline or decline, and then mix up the rep ranges, and yeah, maybe start with 3 sets, build up to 4, maybe even 5, and then go from there. Oh, that was fun. I'm actually really out of breath just from bench pressing, which is peculiar. And now I'm gonna go surfing because I'm in Byron Bay, and hell yeah. Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for the next video. Lots of love. Keep living your greatest life. Keep grinding. Make some gains. Pectus Warriors. Catch ya.